Hi there and welcome guys to this video tutorial. This is a simple guide on the basics of trigonometry. In this tutorial we will cover Pythagoras' theorem and the 6 trigonometric functions in a right angled triangle. Now a lot of you have probably already done this before, but I'll explain the basics anyway, and then I'll do some worked examples to show you how easy it is. And if you're feeling comfortable with it, then you can do some of the practice questions yourself. Okay, first things first. What is basic trigonometry about? Well, if you look in the left-hand column here, we have Pythagoras' theorem, and over in the right-hand column we have the 3 main trigonometric ratios. Now, I did say at the start of the video that we will be doing 6, but I thought it'd be best to start off with the main 3 trig ratios, and then later on in the video tutorial we'll do all 6 of them together just to make things easier for you guys. And anyway, moving back to the left hand side of the table we have Pythagoras' theorem, and underneath the 2 right angled triangles we have the 4 equations to work out C or B in a right angled triangle. Now, as you can see, the sides are all labelled on these right angled triangles, and C is the hypotenuse. It's always the hypotenuse, and this is basically the longest side in a right angled triangle. So if you're going to work out C and you've got A and B, make sure that C is always bigger than A and B, just to give you a picture that you've sort of got the answer correct. Anyway, with these equations, the equations on the right hand side I tend to use more compared to the ones on the left. I don't really use the ones on the left at all, to be honest, because if you use these ones you'll get the answer squared and then you'd have to square root it, whereas with the equations on the right you just get the answer straight away, so it's actually quicker. But you guys can use whichever ones you feel comfortable with. I just personally like to use the ones on the right. Right, now moving back on to the 3 main trigonometric ratios, sine, cosine and tangent. We have, to remember these, you guys probably already know this, sa, ka and toa. Now, sa, the S in sa stands for sine, and the O and the H is opposite over hypotenuse. And then we have Ka, C in Ka stands for cosine, and the A and the H stand for adjacent over hypotenuse. And finally we have Toa, the T in Toa stands for tangent, and the O and the A is opposite over adjacent. Now, I recommend for those of you who don't already know these to memorize them, because you won't be able to answer the questions in this video tutorial if you don't know these equations and the trig ratios. Okay, here are the first few example questions that I'll be doing just to show you how it's done. You've got to find the missing lengths of these triangles. And as you guys can probably tell already, that these questions are really simple. And also what I've done is I've put in the equation, the Pythagoras theorem equation, underneath each of these triangles, just to show you what I mean and to help you understand it better. But after this slide I will be removing these equations, because in an exam you would not be given these underneath the actual question, and it's just better for you to remember this just so you're more comfortable with these types of questions. Anyway, moving on to the first question, we have 3.4 centimeters for A and B is 5.2 centimeters. We are asked to work out the hypotenuse side, which is C. And to do that, we just do the square root of A squared plus B squared to give you C. Now to do that, that's just 3.4 squared plus 5.2 squared square rooted, and that should give you an answer of 6.21 centimeters. And as you can tell, 6.21 centimeters is longer than 5.2 or 3.4, so that seems correct. Now moving on to the second one, we have to work out b for this one, and to do that, that's the square root of c squared minus a squared to equal b, and c squared would be 7.5 squared minus 6.8 squared, and that's square rooted to give you an answer of 3.16 centimeters. And finally, for the last question, we have 3.3 centimeters for A and 8 centimeters for C. We've also been asked to work out B for this, and to do this, it's simply just 8 squared minus 3.3 squared, square root that, and that should give you an answer of 7.2 centimeters. As you can see, 8 centimeters is bigger than 7.2 or 3.3, so that's how you can tell that you've done it right. Okay, now that I've done those worked examples, just see if you can have a go at doing these practice questions by yourself. I'll explain the answers afterwards in case anyone gets stuck or whatever, but just pause the recording, and to reveal the answers, just make sure you're on slideshow mode and press the arrows, and that should reveal them. Okay, I'll go through the answers now. With the first question, we have to work out the hypotenuse C, which is obviously, to work that out, it's the square root of a squared plus b squared to give you C. So that would be the square root of 4.5 squared and 7.2 squared. And that will give you an answer of 8.49 centimeters, which is the biggest side, so that looks good. And then for the second one, we're asked to work out B, and to do that, if you remember correctly, it's the square root of c squared minus a squared to get you B. So that would be the square root of 15 squared minus 4.9 squared, and that will give you 14.17 centimeters, which is slightly less than 15, which is good, and that looks correct. And for the third question, we have to work out C again, and we have 8.8 centimeters and 5 centimeters, and to do that, it's just the square root of 5 squared plus 8.8 squared, and that should give you an answer of 10.12 centimeters.